Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. Today we're gonna harvest or pick some of the grapes in the back here, and I want to share my experience with you guys. So what this is a muscadine grape or muscadine, however you want to pronounce it. This is my 6 years old muscadine trellis back here, and I just want to share some tips with you guys with my experience with these grapes. So the muscadine grapes is basically a wine grapes, and this thing is really hardy. This thing can handle up to zone 6 and above, and so I live in Northern Virginia and I'm in zone 7, so this thing is doing fine. And when I first got it, I was skeptical, so I didn't put it in the ground right away until like the first year or so, and then after that it's like took off like crazy. And this thing is very vigorous and they grow really fast. So there are many variety of muscadines. There's a red variety which they call it black, and then there's like a green light yellow as well variety, and then with those variety there are different variety as well, and there's like a small variety, and then there's a big, and there's like recently I saw it's like there's a seedless variety as well. So speaking of seed, so the muscadine grapes, the seed is very big. You cannot miss it, so when you bite on it, just be careful. So now let's talk about taste. So the muscadine grapes is really sweet when it's ripened. So this thing doesn't counter ripe, so if you pick it green, it will not ripe. It will just stay in that state where you picked it. So how do you know when to pick this the grapes is that you have to look at the color until it turns either really dark black if you have the black or red variety, and if you have the light green variety, then you will have to wait until it turns yellow. And when you try to squeeze it, the grape is a little bit soft, so that's when you know there's a lot of juice in there already. So because this is a wine grapes, when you bite into it, there's a lot of juice. It's like a burst in your mouth if you don't be careful, and it'll like splatter everywhere. So, and then also the texture of the grapes, it have this thick skin on the outside, and the skin is a little bit tart and sour and tangy a little bit, but the juice is so sweet that it overpowers that. So you have like a little combination of sweet and sour and tart and tanginess at the same time when you're eating the grapes. Let's talk about how to take care of these grapes. Basically, I do nothing with these grapes. I have clay soil. Once I put them in the ground and I put in some mixture of good compost or some gardening soil into it the first year. After that, I mulch it like crazy, like really thick mulch, so that way it retains the water in it and I don't have to water it. And then over time those mulch will break down and then it become compost to it. So overall, I really don't take care of this grape at all. I just let it do what it does. So the best way to grow this is on a trellis, like any grapes. You put on a trellis, so that way you can pick the grapes more easier, and it's more fun that way, and you don't have to like go and then pick up the leaves and try to find where the grapes at. So right, like in my case, kind of right. Well, in my case, I left it like this because I have deers. If I trim this thing off, the deers will come by and eat all my grapes. That's what happened last year. Fertilizing, I mean, I don't fertilize this thing at all. Like I say, I just let it do a thing, and I don't even water it after I put it in 1 year. So if you want it to like grow really fast and kick it off, yeah, go ahead and fertilize it and make it grow even faster. But this thing is pretty vigorous. I mean, as you can see here, this thing is like everywhere. It's like on the ground right here, and it's like climbing everywhere. So make sure you have a big trellis. So in terms, when can you expect to have grapes? When you buy it from the store and then plant it into the ground? Well, in general, it takes about 3 years for the grapes vine to be mature and start developing fruit. In general, once your grape trunk is like thick as your thumb, then you can expect to see some flower being pushed out. On the 3rd year, it will start pushing out a little bit of cluster of flower, and then on the 4th or 5th year, you will see a lot of grapes start setting and not pushing out, and you will have so much you have to give it away. In terms of pruning, this grapes is very forgiving. It's not like other like table grapes where it's very like picky if you prune it wrong and will not like produce any fruit. So pruning the muscadine grape is very easy. The way I prune is that I simply cut the this year cane or vine and trim it off and leave like 3 nodes on the vine, and then the next year it will start pushing out a new vine and the grapes will produce from there. So it's very forgiving in pruning, so you cannot do anything wrong. Right, so let me show you guys how thick of my grape trunk is. So down here, you see under here, this thing is really thick, and I have multiple trunks that going up down here. And right here, these are the grapes under here. So this thing is a little bit soft right here, so let's pick that. So here's the grapes, and this one is not really ripe yet because the color is not really dark yet, and it's still a little bit velvety, purplish. It's not dark enough, so it probably will not be that sweet. Right here, you see the skin is very thick, right? And then you push it out, and that's the meat. And then within there's a big seed in there. And here's the seed. Alright, so when is the best time to pick your muscadine grape? Well, from my previous few years experience is that it's always ripe around October and then go into November. But somehow this year it decided to start ripen in like September. So we are lucky this year, I guess. We're gonna have like early muscadine grapes to eat. So over on this side, I have another grape vine as well, and this thing around like 4 or 5 years old. And I put this on a trellis up here. As you can see, if you look up, there are a bunch of grapes. So all I can do is just reach up and pick it off like that. See? That's sweet. So that's pretty much it regarding the muscadine grapes, and they are really easy to grow. So I recommend that you guys, if you guys having hard time issue with growing grapes in zone 7, try muscadine. It's really productive and it's really easy to grow. And I'm gonna go and start harvesting and picking some grapes, and I'll see you guys later.